And it wouldn't add to the deficits because we pay for it in part by closing tax loopholes for companies that are shipping their profits overseas to avoid paying their fair share of taxes. Seems like a sensible thing to do. It's not crazy. It's not socialism. You know, it's not, you know, the imperial presidency, or no laws are broken. We're just building roads and bridges like we've been doing for the last, I don't know, 50, 100 years.
Welcome back. You know, he almost seems like he almost seems like a broken man who let's welcome in Stephen Moore, chief economist for the Heritage Foundation. Hey, Stephen.
Hey, Steve. Great to be with you.
Thank you. Great to be with you. Always appreciate it. I mean, he's always, to some, seemed detached, you know, disinterested at times. But now he just seems like, you know, he's shrugging his shoulders. He's got the shirt open. He's got the sleeves rolled up, and he's, you know, sue me. I don't care. You know, I just get a feeling that there's really no one in charge. Do you get that feeling?
Yeah, I think the big problem for Barack Obama at this point is just his competence is being questioned by the American people, regardless of ideology, whether you're a conservative or liberal or independent. A lot of Americans just don't think he's up for the job, and he's kind of the shrinking president, isn't he? And one other thing, you know, does anyone in America outside of President Obama and a few of the ideologues in the White House still believe that the solution to our problems is spending more money? I mean, my gosh, we've had the biggest spending spree under Barack Obama. We had the $830 billion stimulus plan, and we had, you know, the Cash for Clunkers program. We got Obamacare, all these programs that have added so much to the debt and to the size of government. And for the president to say, gee, all we need to do is get jobs back is to have another big government spending program. I don't think so.
Yeah, it's you know, you just take the broken record from the first time he ran and play it now, and it's just the same thing. It's as if he hasn't had 6 years of failed policies, and here he just keeps touting the same thing over and over again.
Now, what's also interesting, Steve, from that clip that you just played, he said, look, we'll just tax our businesses more, and we'll pay for all these new roads. And, you know, if you really want to know one of the things that's holding back the economy, there are multitude of things that Washington is doing that's really depressing growth. But one of them is that we have the worst business tax climate in the world right now. We have the highest corporate tax rate. President Obama wants to make that worse. I'm not so sure how that's going to bring jobs back to America, when we should be doing just the opposite. We should be cutting our business tax rate to make America more competitive. I talked to the CEO of a major company who talked to me off the record over the last few days, Steve, and he is on the board of major manufacturing companies in the United States, and he said, because of the corporate tax rate, he said, we don't build factories in the United States anymore. They go to Indonesia, they go to Malaysia, they go to Taiwan, they go to Singapore. That's a big problem from the American worker. And it was amazing, you know, he was saying in practice, we're doing, Steve, what you say businesses are doing when you write your papers and you know, are on TV and the radio. You've got it exactly right. Our corporate tax system is destroying the job base of America.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Let's talk about Hobby Lobby and that decision. What do you think the economic ramifications are of that, if any?
That's a great question. You know, first of all, it's just such a stunning and welcome victory for religious freedom, and so I'm just so happy about this decision. As an American who believes religious freedom is such a fundamental right of Americans. But I think also it's that first chink in the armor, isn't it, Steve, out of Obamacare? And you know, this is maybe the first brick out of the wall of the Berlin Wall of this horrible program. So whether we can see a cascading effect of this, and maybe we can go after the medical device tax, and maybe we can go after the 30-hour-a-week rule, and the other things that are just holding back employment and holding back the economy and worsening our health care. Look, Obamacare is probably the #1 reason, Steve, that businesses are not hiring at the pace they should today.
Now, I want to go back to what you mentioned. You know, the president was talking about the crumbling roads and infrastructure, et cetera, and the highway fund. There have been proposals, bipartisan proposal, a bill in the Senate which hasn't been voted on to my knowledge, to raise the gas tax, I think 16 cents over 2 years or 12 cents over 2 years, whatever. With the price of gas soaring, I mean, summertime usually goes up, but it's now up more than it's been at any start of the summer. Good idea, bad idea, and how high do you see gas prices going with all the economic reasons thrown in, including, you know, Iraq and the Middle East and everything else?
Yeah, Steve, you know, with the public approval rating of Congress down in the low teens right now, I didn't think it probably could possibly get any lower. But you tell American people you want to raise the tax on gasoline when we're already paying $4 to $5 a gallon of gas, and you're going to see, you know, single-digit approval for Congress. So it's a dreadful idea. The American people don't need to be hitting the wallet with another tax increase right now. We need to be cutting taxes on the middle class. We got to be drilling for our own natural resources. I know, Steve, you think I'm a, you know, Johnny One Note on this, but it's so important for our economy. We have more oil and gas and coal than any other country in the world. The president simply isn't allowing our companies to go after those resources so that we can lower gas prices, so we can lower electricity prices, which is like a big tax cut for the American family, and it's huge, you know, number of jobs that pay $80,000, $90,000, $100,000 a year.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, you know, you're far from a Johnny One Note, but that's such a key central piece of the puzzle that it would have such ramifications that it's so important you keep knocking that home, and I'm glad you do. You know, Hillary, go ahead.
Without the energy industry, you know, that Obama hates, the fossil fuel industry, there would be no recovery at all in America. I mean, the energy industry is really carrying the rest of the American economy on its back. And so it's amazing to me, the one industry that's actually creating jobs, creating growth, is the one he wants to stick a knife right into the back of.
Yeah. What about, let's talk about immigration reform. Of course, Boehner told Obama it's dead this year because we can't trust you to enforce the law. Then the president went out and said, hey, I'm going to do it on my own. Are you still urging at this point, as we stand right now, that the Republicans should address comprehensive immigration reform?
You know, I think that these latest flare-ups at the border and the fact that no one trusts Barack Obama on doing the right thing in the border, doing anything but anything that's political. I mean, he views this immigration issue as purely political. He's not trying to do the right thing for people who want to get into this country and work. You know, you and I have talked about this a lot. I'm for, you know, allowing people who want to come into this country and work and build a better life for themselves, and people who have, you know, computer degrees, or people who want to work in the fields and agriculture. I am for that. But I'm with the vast majority of Americans who just don't trust this president on this issue.
Yeah, well, understandably so. Let me ask you, Hillary Clinton, in answering questions, I don't even remember where she was the other day.
That dirt poor woman who barely is making it, struggling to get by. That woman.
You mean $160 million dirt poor? Yeah, that's the one. She said, when asked about the economy, that Obama's trying, but she said, you know, look to the Clinton economy. My husband is and compare it to Reagan. Now, she issued a challenge. She threw down the gauntlet there, and nobody really picked up on that. And I'd love to have that debate with you against her when you consider everything Reagan inherited from Jimmy Carter, and you consider the tech bubble that benefited Clinton.
Well, I'd like to see the Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama debate on the economy, because Hillary's actually saying a lot of things you and I have been saying, Steve, right? She's saying this economy is underperforming, the middle class is getting hammered, gas prices are too high. I mean, you and I have been saying that for 4 years, Steve?
I think so. 6 years. but I'd love for somebody to pick up on that challenge she threw out there and do a piece or challenge someone to a debate. You could represent Reagan's economy, and someone could represent the Clinton economy, and see who comes out on top. Now, we got one more for you. The jobs. I saw the ADP prediction today of like 285,000. We've been burned by that up or down in the past. But what are you looking for? I think it's tomorrow, that because of the holiday, it'll be out tomorrow.
I think we're going to get a decent number. I got my fingers crossed. You know, Americans need jobs. They desperately do. But, you know, if we got over 200,000, I think that would, for Obama, that would be a really good number. But we needed to be at the 400,000 and 500,000 number for a lot of months in a row to get anywhere near the kind of employment levels we should have. Steve, we're 5.5 million jobs short of where President Obama promised us we would be with his 5% unemployment. And that's just, causing real hardship for American families. So I think we'll get a decent number tomorrow. I got those fingers crossed, but we're still so far from where we should be in terms of job creation in this country today.
Stephen Moore, Chief Economist at Heritage. Great to talk to you. Have a very happy and safe 4th of July. We'll speak to you soon, my friend.
Yeah, Steve, I wish I had a penny for every dollar Hillary has.
That's a good one. I'm going to steal that one, but I'll credit you anyway. Stephen Moore, ladies and gentlemen, on the Steve Malzberg Show. When we come back, it's, well, you know it, you love it, you got to have it. Can't live without it. What else could I say? It's Gimme 5, and it's coming up next right here on Newsmax Television.